right, here we go. All right. At long last, it says we're live. So here we go. How's it going, everybody? Those of y'all new to the channel or just filing in here as we get this thing going here. Of course, some of y'all already know my name's Austin. And of course, I had something prepared for that and I didn't even think. Yes, and this is Fantastic Freaks. Got stickers here now to do that little thing here. Which, by the way, those of you that may not have a Fantastic Freak sticker and want one, still got a few of those. So send me a message on any of my social medias if you guys are into sticker collecting. But yes, finally back again after a very crazy manic Monday from last week here. I see someone mentioned it earlier. No, my basement today is dry. Praise God for that. But yes, last week was not much fun. It's never fun when your basement is underwater, because that's all I say. Like, the only thing that should be doing the swimming down here in the basement should be the fish, not me. I can swim, but I don't think I want to swim in that. But hope everyone's having a great Monday here as we kick this off here. I see we already got lots of awesome folks in here after I'm sure a lot of you are just leaving Stephen P's always high quality stream there, the Wet Your Plant stream, which is always a lot of fun. Big reason why I start my streams here a little bit later is because I always love watching his streams myself here. Right off the bat, we got the Metalheads, Aquatic Mayhem. Saying, what's up, peeps? What's up with you, Josh and Jessica? Hope all is good there. Big Shrimpin, saying hello, hello. Hello to you, Shrimpin. Pimpin' as always. We got Scuba Stevo, hashtag Kelly Rules. Yes, she does. Stevo, another one in here, as well as Mark Sterlson saying good day, everyone. Good day to you, Mark. Great to see you. Bunny Viper also dropping the hashtag Kelly Rules. Again, I agree. Rob's Aqua also here. And yep, again, Rob, fortunately, nope, the basement is dry now. And it was not a lot of fun cleaning that mess up, but alas, it is dry. Hallelujah. Only Oscars is also here saying hi, everyone. Hi to you. Right back at you. Checking through the chat here, seeing what else we got here. Ah, yes. Zen Ginger, one of my 3 awesome moderators, is here. I'm here, but getting done with school and lurking. By all means, take care what you got to take care of, but appreciate Zen there. Or a lot of channels appreciate Zen Ginger here. I know she does a moderator for a lot of awesome channels outside of mine, some even definitely greater than mine, that's for sure. But appreciate all you do, Zen, not just for me, but everybody out there. What you do is truly vital to the fish fam, and a lot of people couldn't do what they do without your help. Greatly appreciate you, Zen. Mark's saying hello there as well. And Zen's saying that we got good audio and good video, which is always good. Going through here. Here's an awesome channel right here. We got the Garden of Eater, Grant and Shelby. Hope you guys are doing well there. Always love seeing their live streams as well there. Even though I know sometimes we pick a little fun at the shrimp, or no, snails rather. I don't know why I said shrimp, because you guys love shrimp. That's right. But always kind of love picking at the, the snails here and such. But hope you're doing well here. Going through the chat. Yes. Seeing who we got here. We got Big Cat saying, hey, everybody. What's up to you, Big Cat? Good to see you here. The Nano Aquarium guy also here, listening while driving. Well, glad I can help you on your Monday afternoon commute back, or Monday night, depending on where you live. Going through the chat, make sure we don't forget anybody. Hopefully the chat quits jumping on me like it's done already twice now. Gotta love that. By all means, then, you are most welcome. I know I speak for a lot of channels. You're a great help. On. Yep. Oh, there we go. I saw it earlier. Nano Aquarium guy. I think it was you that said, yep, yeah, it is. Zenny equals Supermod. She isn't just a mod. She is the Fish Fam Supermod. That's a very fitting title, actually. Chat here. Looks like we're getting all caught up here. Oh, actually, I haven't said hello to this one yet. Silver Creek Aquatic saying howdy, howdy. The wave and the cowboy hat there. Good to see you, Silver Creek, as always. All sorts of awesome fish folk here. Over 20 people watching. Appreciate every single one of y'all for that. But yes, as you can tell by the title, talking about column aquariums. And by column aquariums, of course, I know perhaps one of the most maybe well-known shapes would be like the hexes, of course, because I mean, I feel like a lot of us at one point has kept hex aquariums. And a big reason also I want to talk about these is well, especially not even just hex aquariums, but of course, I mean, cylinders, I mean, rectangular tanks that go up, square column tanks, I guess. Yeah, I call square tanks technically column tanks too. If it's not a, like a basic rectangle, I don't know. In some ways, to me, they kind of qualify as a column tank. So keep that in mind. But yes, going on to, I mean, obviously the hex tanks, I know probably get the worst rap out of all of these. Because, I mean, if you think about a cylinder tank, especially if you do like acrylic, it can just be one big thing. Which, other than, of course, the bottom, of course. But yes. And, get to that in just a minute there, but that's the main thing I want to talk about, as well as like how you can get the most out of them, because I know really column tanks in general get a bit of a bad rap, and I can understand why. That the gallonage of tanks, I mean, a lot of us think that, a 20-gallon tank is a 20-gallon tank. Well, there's some other factors to think into this here, as well, as a lot of you I know already know. But of course, some people, especially if you're just getting into the hobby, may look at like a hex tank like, oh, so this 30-gallon and like hex tank is going to take up less space than like what a 30-gallon tank would, like in terms of rectangular shape. Well, I mean, in the end, it's still the same amount of water, but can you stock both tanks the same? Not exactly. There are some things that you got to keep in mind here, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about here. But before we get too deep into that, Eric Wyrock, another awesome channel that I love Eric's energy on his streams there. I'm sure I know a lot of you already see his streams there and such, but if you don't, definitely make sure you check out his. In fact, check out all sorts of streams here, which of course, if you don't know who's going live and when, you can always check out the fishfam.link. That'll tell you all sorts of times when people are streaming and such, and exactly maybe even a little bit about what their show is going to be about. And it's also a great way that if you're looking to expand your horizons, to find some other fish fam channels and such. I mean, there's people that like cichlids, rainbows, tetras. I mean, obviously my thing's puffers. I mean, the list goes on and on. So definitely check that out if you have not already. I'm sure a lot of you already have. But if you haven't, that's how you can find guys like Eric right here. Eventually I'll get the point right. There we go. And I mean, just another awesome channel in the Fish Fam. Greatly appreciate you for that $5 super chat, Eric. Money is always greatly appreciated, but never expected. Greatly appreciate you for that, Eric. Keep doing what you do, man. Like I say, I love that man's energy on his streams. It's a lot of fun. Just sometimes sitting there and just listening to Eric go and go. I mean, it's just that. It's a lot of fun. Oh, did I miss somebody up there? Ah, yes, we got Vinoski Fish Toko. I thought I saw a new face in here. Hope you're doing well, Vinoski. Another frequent visitor. Always glad to see you here. Saying hi, guys. Hello to you. Hope it's been an awesome Monday here. Well, as awesome as Mondays can be, I know some people would say, because, I mean, let's be honest. Monday, it's always a bit hard, when you're trying to get back into the work week after, a couple of days off of just kicking back, relaxing, or maybe you're just working with the fish and all that. Stuff like that, But column tanks. Yes, so as I touched up on earlier, I think a main thing that gets column tanks, a little bit of a bad rap is that, yes, the gallons overall is a little deceiving. And that's definitely, as a lot of you know, some of you may not, that gallons, it's not something to totally toss out the window, but it's also not the main thing. The main thing, depending on what fish you get, of course, depends on, what the dimensions of the tank are. For example, I mean, I haven't shown it on camera here a lot, but I have a 75-gallon hex aquarium, which is a lot different than, my typical 275s over there, which, have that traditional 4 feet long, 48 inches if you prefer, and then 18 inches in width and such. I mean, that's a pretty large footprint when you think about it, versus a 75 hex. It's only about just shy of it's about a little over 2 feet wide in diameter. A little bit over that, actually. But even then, I mean, when you still think about just a little over 2.5 feet wide versus 4 feet wide, I mean, we're talking about a very different deal in dimension, but still the same gallonage. So why do the dimensions mean so much for aquariums? Well, to those of you that do not know, dimensions are important because part of the things that gets oxygen into your fish is, of course, the surface area of the tank. And of course, if the overall footprint of the tank isn't as long or wide, like what a 75 hex would be versus a traditional 75, then there's a little less oxygen going in there, but still the same amount of gallons of water. Hence why stocking this sometimes gets a little tricky sometimes. But I forgot to turn off my spam thing on the phone there. Hopefully nobody heard that vibrations, as I know that can be kind of annoying. But the main thing there, again, about surface area is, again, it plays a key part of oxygen being in the water. Of course, we have our air pump to also help that out as well. But if we also have less surface area on there, I mean, the air that goes to and from the water here also has less of an area to, make those transitions. Hence why sometimes when you have these bigger tanks, I just keep bumping this thing. I need to scoot this back a little bit. There we go. It's why stocking sometimes is a little bit trickier, but I mean, I also have a video about this too. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you do plan these tanks well and do just be a little more strategic on the overall stocking of these tanks, whether it be a hex, a tall rectangle, or a cylinder, or even a half moon or half cylinder, whatever you want to call it, they can still look pretty cool. The main thing is that, yeah, you gotta be able to just keep in mind of all the dimensions in the tank as such. Only Oscars here haven't found tanks to fit on the stands on Facebook Market. Going to have them made. Well, it can be, unless you want to go and try to make your own, which honestly, I guess only Oscars, I don't know what kind of tank you're working with there, but I mean, a couple of these tanks down here, I mean, this stand here with, we'll go ahead and move the camera here a little bit. I mean, this stand right here that my 240 sits on, I mean, this was custom made. And honestly, I think by the time I even got like the stuff to finish it, which was just a couple of coats of polyurethane on feeder panels, I mean, it cost me maybe just a little over $50, but that's also because I had some scrap plywood and all that. Hence, I didn't have to buy the plywood, which, as we all know right now, in terms of price, is a little astronomical. But, well, wood in general right now is just a little astronomical, but yes. Oh, only Oscars. I totally misunderstood you. I thought you were talking about the stands. Oh, I look a little foolish right now. Yep. Not going to make a tank myself. Well, yeah, that's a different animal. Building you technically could build a tank yourself, but well, that involves a lot of plywood, as a lot of us know, and unless you're going big, honestly, it's almost more expensive than just buying the glass one. But yes. Vibes Aquatics joining the stream here. Good to see you, Vibes. Saying good evening, y'all. Present the fire, the fist bump, and of course, a thumbs up as well. Appreciate you, Vibes. Metalheads, I'm totally with you. I'd rather build my own stand than these overpriced particle board crap. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, just think about this. How much does a 2x4 still cost? And I mean, what? How tall are you going to make the stand roughly? Somewhere between 2 to 3 feet roughly. I know some people might make it a little bit shorter. Some might make it a little bit taller. But I mean, even then, you can get 2x4s that are 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet long. And I mean, if you're not, I mean, it all depends, of course, on what size of the tank. I mean, for a couple of 125s there and such, I built like a 2-level stand there. And again, granted, I had some spare plywood lying around there, but I mean, just the 2x4s and all that stuff. I mean, 2x4s, depending on where you are in my area here, you can get them as cheap as about $3-4 a board. I know, honestly, like if you get like 10 boards, that's $30-40 right there. But honestly, depending on what size of the tank it is, I mean, you may not even need that much. So I mean, I'm all about building, my own stand too, because those factory ones tend to use just 1x3s or 1x4s. And if you put a 2x4 on there, I mean, think about it. You're making it twice as strong, if not even more than that stronger. And especially compared to particle board. I mean, particle board, man, it gets wet, it's done. I mean, particle board is, I mean, as you said, Josh, I mean, particle board is crap. There's really no dancing around that. Particle board is crap. But, I mean, that's just me. I'm with a lot of you guys. I'd rather build my own stand. It's going to be stronger. It's going to last longer. And depending on how you play your cards, it could look nicer too. I wish I could build stands for that right now. Everyone does that, but yeah, here in the Omaha Council Bluffs area, wood is still it's gotten better, but it's definitely got a ways to go. I'll just leave it at that. It's definitely got a ways to go here yet. Melvin checking in here, aka Legacy Explorer Aqua, saying hello. Hello, you Melvin. Hope it's been an awesome Monday here. Talking about resealing here. Awkward at first, resealed the 29 that held together pretty much to my surprise and delight. Yeah. That's the other thing that I know. I mean, I'm getting a little off topic here, but hex tanks, that's another one that I know sometimes people get a little off on, is that they are, unfortunately, a little leak prone, depending on how tall it is. But see, that's the next thing that you got to keep in mind, is the water pressure of these tanks. Something that I've kind of done myself that, at least in my experiences, kind of helped out here is when it comes to lessening the water pressure, I sometimes make the substrate a little bit deeper in my column tanks here. That way, I mean, obviously sand and all that, there's still going to be pressure at the bottom, and it's still going to be more pressure at the bottom regardless of what you do at the bottom versus the top. But if you put, I've like my 20 hex over here, where I have my red eye puffers at now. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, that's about 3-4 inches of sand right there. Or part of that's also just because to cover up parts of the wood of the aquascape that I didn't want to have scratching up my puffers or anything. But it's another way to sometimes lessen a little bit of the water pressure, because I mean, water can weigh a lot. But yeah, as Bunny Viper here also points out, yes, the taller a vertical tank is, the weaker it is. And a big part of that, yeah, goes to the just the overall water pressure. The taller it is, the more pressure you're going to have. I mean, that's the next thing. You can have a 200-gallon tank, but if it's only 2 feet tall, that's going to be a lot less pressure overall. I mean, still going to weigh like, well, crazily heavy, but at the same time, versus if you have like a 75 hex that, is, 3 feet tall or close to it, it's going to have more water pressure at the bottom. It's going to have a lot of water pressure there at the bottom there because, I mean, it's a taller tank and it's a more concentrated area of water versus if it's longer and wider, that weight is being more spread out. Game Master checking in here. Any tips for getting algae out of a brackish tank? Algae is a tricky one, Game Master, but I guess one, it would kind of depend on what your algae is on, if it's like substrate or decor, if it's on the glass. If it's on the glass, otherwise, I just say scrubbing. Otherwise, sometimes a way of how algae gets started is by a little bit of overfeed with the fish and such, or depending on what fish you had, maybe it's a high amount of protein. Otherwise, another way would be to, okay, I just saw your next response here. A figure 8 puffer tank. All right, so chances are if it's puffers, proteins might have a little bit to do with it. Otherwise, something that you can do to help out get rid of that algae is keep the light on a little bit less, because that is another way how sometimes algae get started. And I've learned that the hard way myself a couple times here. But if you keep the light off for a little while, sometimes that helps thin it out. And I don't know if you have live plants in there. Well, it's hard to do live plants in a brackish aquarium anyway, but it can be done. But otherwise, sometimes just an algae killer on there, a little bit less light. That can sometimes thin it out, or at least in my experiences it has. It doesn't work with every single one there, but that would be one thing that I would say you could definitely try out. Otherwise, there are some brackish fish out there. I'm not as knowledgeable on the brackish fish, and I can't think of, there is a fish out there that can help out with that can tolerate brackish conditions, but I can't think of it right now. But yes. But yeah, my main advice there, Game Master, would be give your tank a little bit less light in there. Put a small dose of algae killer in there. Definitely don't want to put too much in there, because do keep in mind, puffers are a scaleless fish and they can be susceptible to that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I would say if it's just on the glass, you can scrub it, or if it's on some decor pieces, sometimes just I even just sometimes take it out and just let the algae dry off. And then once the algae dies off, you can put it back in, and sometimes that works. But I guess, again, I am not fully sure where but some things that you can try out. Justin H. I just got a 7-inch crossover puffer. Good for you. That's a hard one to find. Any tips introducing some dither fish to the acquisition? In terms of other fish with a crossover puffer, I mean, it's hard. I mean, they're based on Africa, so they are a little bit more on the aggressive side there. But I guess if they're cheaper fish, you can go ahead and give a shot there. But what I would say, really, with any puffer and introducing any fish to the tank, I would say if you can do it right at the time where you're putting the puffer in, and the sooner you can do it, the better, because if that puffer is in there too much longer than you introducing any other fish, it's going to claim that whole tank as its territory. And if there's fish swimming around in that guy's territory, he's going to get aggressive, and he could very likely attack those fish, which could happen even if you have those other fish in there before the other puffers, because as cute and cuddly as those puffers look, sometimes they're territorial. That's just how they are. But that would be something that I've done. Back when I added the mollies with my figure 8 puffers, I had a whole bunch of mollies right as I moved them over to the 55, and everybody got accustomed to a new surrounding all at one time there, where nobody had any established territory, and then that's kind of how you can create a bit of a peaceful hierarchy. Kind of how I did it. Legacy Explorer Aqua. Yes, my aquatic channel is now going in a brand new direction. I found my purpose and niche in this hobby now. I'm going from being just a fish keeper now to an aquascaper, aka Legacy Aquascaping. Good for you. I mean, I wish I could. Aquascaping, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it's not a talent, because I feel like if you have the patience and maybe a little bit of the money, hey, anybody could aquascape there too. But I mean, that's just the thing. It requires a patience, and it can also really require, it requires a lot of creative thinking too. And I think if we all dig down deep enough, we can definitely get the creative part rolling. But at the same time, it's also, yes, it's always easier. I just lost my train of thought. Oh man, I'm a bit of a scatterbrain today, guys. And I'm not sure why I took that off there, but I've always been very impressed with the aquascapers too. Like, one of the channels I also watch is JJ Aquariums. Perhaps some of you guys are familiar with him. I mean, he's got some amazing scapes. And I know, obviously, Stephen P., who we talked about not too long ago, does a little bit of that himself there. I also remember when I went to Aquaticon over in Tennessee, and I saw some of the aquascapes that Sean Peck, or some of you guys may know more as Peck Tech, did when me and a couple of the other fish tubers that were there went to his house to hang out and play some games there. I was looking at some of his aquascapes there, and I tell you what, that's another man that too. If you want some aquascaping tips, that's another one on here. But Melvin, I'm very intrigued to see what you come up with as well, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on your channel to see what kind of aquascapes you do, man. Because aquascaping, that's a totally another aspect that I think sometimes we get so caught up in wanting to take care of the fish, we sometimes forget about the part of making it like an ecosystem for them rather than just one big glass box and such. But very intrigued to see what you do there, Logan, and congratulations. That's exciting. Bunny Viper, yes, it's always better to add the smaller, less aggressive fish first. I mean, pretty much putting it word for word here of my thoughts here, minus me just rambling on about it. But it allows them to learn the tank and find places to hide, and the more aggressive fish last. This is just another way to stock. Absolutely. I mean, that's always how I've done it. And with the mollies and even the night goby in there, I mean, in the end with the mollies and the puffers, it just didn't work out there. The puffers were starting to get a little too aggressive with them, yet they don't bother the night goby much. But I think that's also because the night goby hides a lot. That's just kind of what he does, or at least what mine does. But that's the main thing that you do there is just add the aggressive or less aggressive fish there first and give them a chance to, create their own little hierarchy, let them find all the nooks and crannies to get away from each other. So when you add those puffers or the fish that are more likely to be territorial or aggressive, yeah, the other fish have already established their hierarchy and have already learned of all the places where they can get away from each other and give you a better shot of having harmony in your tank. Very welcome, Melvin. I say, looking forward to seeing what you do. Zen Ginger is out here, got to run. See you all around this evening. Absolutely, Zen, as always. Appreciate what you do. Awesome moderator. The Super Mod. That might be Zen's new nickname now. Zen Ginger, a.k.a. the Super Mod. Absolutely love it. Yeah, appreciate you, Zen, very much. Hope you have a good one. Glitch Aquatics saying hello. Hello to you, Glitch Aquatics. Great to see you here. Saying hey, everyone, with the 2 hearts there. Appreciate that. Going through here. Zen, I never knew. I was wondering if you drew that or whoever drew that, but husband's quite the artist then. Here's a little question for all of you guys in the chat. And all the time that you've kept fish, have you or do you currently keep any sort of column tank, whether it be a tall rectangular one, a cylinder, half cylinder, or some call it a half moon, or a hex, any of the above? Do any of you keep any sort of that tank? Or you know what, we'll even call it a diamond tank. Like if you got a diamond corner tank or something. And have any of you ever kept a tank like that? I'm sure certainly some of y'all here have. They're not as common as the rectangular tanks now for reasons in which I kind of spoke of earlier, but they are still, I think, a tank that, if you play your cards right, can still be really cool. And especially I don't want to spoil it too much on my 75 hex, but I think hex and column tanks are a perfect tank for adding big schools of little fish. I once upon a time had a 30 hex down here until it sprung a leak. I know some people are like, aha, there's another one of those things that kind of make the hex tanks a little bit less desirable. And fair point. But my 75 hex, what I'm kind of thinking there is I think a 75 hex and just a big pea puffer colony tank in there would look so cool. And that's why I think hex tanks can look really cool, is that, yeah, you just got to understand that, okay, yeah, it's 75 gallons, but that doesn't mean like a 75 normal that you can put fish in here that grow to a foot long or maybe slightly bigger. You're not going to be able to get away with. I would say for a tank, hex tank, like say my 75, that's about about give or take 30 inches wide. Actually, no, about 32, I think. Actually, I'd say you'd be good to add fish in there that can grow it. By my system, I would say I'd put 4 to 5 inches in there if you put just some of those in there, but I probably wouldn't want any fish that get bigger than that. And it's just a great way to put them all in there because, just seeing them swim around and around and around, I'm telling you, hex tanks can be really, really cool. Oh, especially, a lot of people do different aquascapes and such with them. My favorite to do an aquascape with really any column tank, especially like a cylinder or a hex, is find you a good piece of driftwood, stick her right in the middle, and make it look kind of tree-like and such. And you can do that by putting some Anubias plants on the top. You can put some mosses on the top there. It can look really sweet when you do it just right. I see we got some people talking about our initial question here earlier yet. Glitch Aquatics, no columns yet for me. Well, not everybody has. Let's see, going down here. Justin E. has not, but would be down to own a hex. I definitely think there's something that everyone should give a shot here. Going down here. Vibes, yes. Fish Fam Christmas coming up with the presents, the fire, the claps, and of course the loudspeaker there. Yes, and I will be partaking in that. Of course, I am not allowed to tell you when, but I do have a date set. So if you don't want to miss it, by all means, if you click on the little bell on YouTube, you can get notifications for whenever I go live, as well as whenever I post shorts or videos, which I will have another video coming out here, if not tonight, hopefully by tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest, showing off a couple more of my tanks down here as we continue to do some aquarium spotlights down here. And if there's any tanks down here that you guys actually would also like to see me do next, because I figured the 240, a lot of y'all would want to know more about that, because, we see it every single stream. But if there's another tank that you guys really want to talk about, or tanks at that, always feel free to let me know. But yes, Vibes, looking very forward to the Fish Fam Christmas. That's going to be a lot of fun. And hope to see all y'all there when it finally comes to my channel. Like I say, can't tell you the date, but it is scheduled. And it is coming soon. And see, just an E, we talked about just E there, hasn't had one, but is down to own one, which is good. Boots, cats, boots, cats. I love that. Boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats, boots, cats. It's catchy. I love it. I have kept small columns in the past, currently have a 30-gallon extra high. Those are interesting ones, yeah. I had a 30-gallon hex once time here, and I loved filling it. I filled it up with some Cardinal Tetras. Actually, it was a beta sorority tank because, yeah, I had Cardinal Tetras, and then I had a half moon beta in there, and that's the next thing. I think hex tanks are another one that, yeah, are great for the Tetras that, are so colorful and that just swim around and such. I could list off all sorts of fish ideas for column tanks, but honestly, you could go ahead and, if you haven't already, and I think a lot of you probably have, you can check out my one video about fish ideas for hex tanks there. I actually have a little video about that as well. I don't know if, I think Zen said she was already out. I don't know if we got Matt in the chat or whoever, but if either of the moderators are here, if they could drop a link to that video real quick, that'd be awesome. But, that gives you at least 8 ideas of what you can put in a column tank, but believe me, there's way more than 8. Tetras, barbs, even if you want. Barbs tend to be a little nippy, so then sometimes you got to be a little more careful what you put with them. But another one, I've seen people do like ram cichlids. If your tank is big enough, just a pair of 2 angelfish. I would say this would definitely have to be for the bigger column tanks. And then some rams and then some loaches and all that, which I think is amazing. Stuff like that. The list goes on and on for what you can do with these column tanks. I'm sorry, people. My chat keeps jumping on me and it is throwing me off something fierce. My fish tank aquatics. Don't think I said hi to you earlier. Welcome aboard here. I have a dirted 25-gallon hex. Those dirted tanks. I haven't tried a dirted tank here yet myself yet, but I know a number of people have talked about them. I want to say Stephen P has too. Obviously, Father Fish I know is another one. I mean, just a couple that have here, but I myself have not, and I really should. I mean, we have one of the main rivers of all the United States, basically right here in our backyard with the Missouri River. So, I mean, some point, maybe you need to give that a shot here, because I have heard that sometimes, especially if you're trying to get into plants, which is something I keep trying to learn more and more about myself here, it's not a bad way to go. Are already full of all sorts of beneficial nutrients, especially for plants and such. Definitely need to get a dirted tank of myself someday soon. I thought I saw another person here with one. There we go, Steve-O. Oh, I have a 20-gallon hex. No room for it. It's just sitting in the garage. Oh, well, that's a bummer. But yeah, those hex tanks too. I mean, I get it. Some people, people definitely want to make room for the rectangular tanks. I mean, that's kind of what I've gotten here too. I'll always have a column tank or two or more down here myself, but yeah, they do have limitations, and I will say that is definitely a big con to column tanks, whether it be a hex, a cylinder, or whatever it is that, yeah, they do have their limitations on really what you can put in them, because I've said it a couple times and I'll say it again. Just because, hey, this hex tank is 30 gallons doesn't mean it's the same thing as like say even a 29-gallon aquarium, which is a pretty common size. I mean, you can probably do more with a 29 than what you could do with a 30-gallon hex because of the footprint of the tank. It's wider and longer, hence giving it more of a footprint and more overall swim area for your fish. And unfortunately, the hexes, that is one thing that is a bit of a downer about them, but that is I don't know. I always say that it just requires a little more strategy and such, but it is definitely something to keep in account here. And I think that's the biggest reason why they get ragged on and such. Thought I saw another person here. Dang it. I don't know why my chat keeps jumping on me, guys, but it is hopping around like a little bunny rabbit. Just keeps hopping on me, and I keep losing my comments here of all these awesome people we have here today. Speaking of which, we got another friendly face in here. We got Bwizzle Aquatic saying, hey to you, Bwizzle. Right back at you. Good to see you here. Another awesome member of the Fish Fam. Great to see you here on this Monday Musing stream here. Going down through the chat. Make sure we don't forget anybody. Don't think I said hi to you yet. We got Jay Oliver's Guppy and Aquatics here. Good to see you, Jay Oliver. Don't think I said hi to you. You're there. Great to see you. Another person, we also got Mountain Greenery saying hi, everyone, with the fish, and of course the little face there as well. Appreciate y'all checking in. There are all sorts of awesome folks here. All right, and there's Jay Oliver again. Happy holidays. Back at you, man. Love what you do as well. All sorts of awesome folks here. Bunny Viper, good question. Can you keep green tiger barbs in large numbers with tetras and barbs? Been researching opinions. I guess, Bunny, that kind of depends on, of course, how big your tank is. I'm not sure. I guess that would be one thing that I'd want to say. And when you talk about in large numbers, is that like 10 green tiger barbs? Is that like 15 or 20, something like that? Personally, I have kept tetras of barbs before. Tiger barbs, though, yeah, of all the barbs, they tend to be one of the more nippier ones. The only one that I would say sometimes I've had that's a little more nippier than a tiger barb sometimes is a rosy barb, which is a pity because tiger barbs and rosy barbs both look really beautiful, and they're a fish that doesn't get too big, so it's kind of a bummer. But I guess it would also depend on what kind of tetras also you have. I would say with rasboras, I've definitely seen people do it before. Again, though, I think it would also depend, Bunny, on the size of your tank and such, and exactly what a large amount of tiger barbs would be. Oh, speaking of bunny, there she is again right down here. Big tank, probably 30 tiger barbs. You weren't kidding. Large amount of tiger barbs indeed. I guess here's the next question for you, Bunny. Big tank, what is that gallon-wise? Are we talking triple digits like in the hundreds or something? But I would say 30 tiger barbs. I would say if you're talking that big, I would say, yeah, we're probably talking in the hundreds or close to it. But I would say the main thing is, depending on what tetras you put in with your tiger barbs, I would say you could. It would be something where if you put in like the more torpedo-shaped ones, are Buenos Aires tetras with tiger barbs would be a good one too. Buenos Aires tetras tend to be like, okay, so down there we go. I was right. Into the hundreds. So 125. Love that tank size. 125s are probably one of my favorite tank sizes out there. I see you, Matt. I'll get to you in just a minute. But I would say, yeah, you could probably put some tetras in there. I would also say make sure you put some stuff in, like some plants and driftwoods and rocks in there. Because, again, barbs can be a little nippy. So whenever the barb's getting a little bit of an attitude, make sure some tetras have like some nooks and such to get away from the barbs and such. But I would also say, like, yeah, if you put some of the more aggressive ones in there, or, well, I shouldn't say aggressive because that makes it sound like they're mean, but if you put some of them more boisterous tetras, we'll call it, and they're like a Buenos Aires tetra and such, then I think it could definitely work with some green tiger barbs. The main thing is just don't get any of the long-finned ones, because, I mean, if you get any of the long-finned tetras, then, I mean, it's going to make them look all that much alluring to the tiger barbs and inspire them more to want to nip and such. But I would say, yeah, if you got some in there, you could definitely put some tetras in there with those barbs. I would also say if you put some tetras in there, you could also, I call them the torpedo shape, like the little thin ones, not the flat ones, but, well, you get what I'm saying. I would say those are another one that you could consider, depending, as long as it's not the smaller ones, because torpedo ones, of course, can swim a little bit faster than the flatter ones. I mean, tetras in general, though, can just swim really fast. But I would say, yeah, that could definitely be done. But of course, I mean, as you know, definitely get multiple opinions because, I mean, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of species of tetras. So, I mean, also depends on what species of tetra you're talking about. But good choice on the green tiger barbs. I really like those. Them and the cobalts, well, they kind of look the same, which kind of makes me wonder they might be the same, but I don't know. Melvin, Petco has this plant of driftwood made by Penaplex called Aquaflora. It's so cool. Just put it in the water and watch it grow. Just bought one for my 29-gallon tank. Penaplex. I think I've heard of one of those, actually. I haven't been to Petco, though, in a hot minute, though, which is weird because of all the, dollar per gallon or 50% aquarium sales that they have, especially on Black Friday. I wanted to get there on Black Friday, but it just never worked out. But that does sound cool, though. I got to check one of those out then. All right. Can you mod fish frame and Christmas just for the holidays? Email me about that, Matt, and I'll see a little bit more of what you're getting into. I don't know if you're talking about just for me or certain channels. Shoot me an email, Matt, and we'll discuss that a little bit further. Vibes Aquatics, lucky you. Lurking and shopping at local fish store. Man, every time I hear someone going to the fish store, I always get jealous. Like, man, I wish I was at the fish store right now. Going to the... Anyway, haven't seen it, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the link because, as I said, there are a lot of different options that you can use for fish in a hex aquarium, and I do have a video actually kind of talking about not 1, not 2, not 3, not even 5, but 8 ideas of what you can put in a hex aquarium. I go a little bit on the size as well about what you can put in them and such. scroll through here quick and find the link. Oh, what the heck? For some reason, my internet has been super slow here today. Hence part of the reason why my stream was a little bit late here, guys. So yeah, I do apologize for that as well here, of course. Grabbing that video here really fast for you guys here, because I definitely think that this is something that, if you're thinking of a column tank, I definitely think that everyone should give them a shot at one point. Maybe some fish that'll maybe get those wheels in your head turning, thinking about like, ooh, yeah, that would look really good. I forgot even how long ago this was. How long ago was it since I made this video? I mean, what was it? About, it hasn't been over a year already, has it? Shoot, maybe it has. Good Lord, it's already been over 2 years since I made that video. Wow, time. Whoop. And we got a video playing in the background. Well, that's never fun. There we go. That's better. All right, hex tank column fish tank ideas, not hex, because we're not talking about just hexes. We're talking about columns in general. There we go. To anybody that wants to check it out there, I think a lot of people have actually really liked that video. I need to get another like tank ideas video out here soon. It's been a hot minute since I've done those. I like doing them. They just take a lot of editing. But yes, if you're looking for ideas for a hex tank or something, because I know a couple of you here in the chat said that you got a couple of them sitting around, maybe check out that one over there. It's on one of those sides. But check out that video, and yeah, I can give you 8 of my personal ideas. And of course, you got to know that there's going to be a puffer in there too, which I know a lot of you like the puffers, so double bonus, right? Hey, speaking of awesome channels earlier, Lefty is here, or aka Lefty 3213A. Love it. How many people actually give the whole numbers and the one letter there for you, Lefty? But another awesome channel right there with some awesome streams there as well there. The fact that he also likes Pokemon is also not a bad deal either. Gotta say, I like Lapras as well. Gotta say, I think Dragonite's my favorite though. But this isn't a Pokemon stream. My chat keeps jumping. Let me see through the chat, because every time it jumps, I feel like I'm going to miss something if I don't check back. And I don't know why it keeps jumping on me. And it hasn't jumped on me like this before either. So I don't know why it's suddenly doing that here today. Might have to check out the StreamYard things. Maybe something got updated or something that I don't know about. Oh, Scuba Steve, ever have a problem with a fish wanting to eat certain foods, like floating? What do you do? Should I starve him for a week and then try to feed the new food? I mean, sometimes I still give them a little bit what they want, because I definitely don't think you want to totally starve them either. Because I mean, here's something about like kind of going with that comment there, Steve. I mean, my puffers sometimes get very picky. Like Finley, for example, I'll sometimes try to give her krill and she won't touch it, but then I'll put snails in her tank. She's all over it. I mean, sometimes fish just want something different, you know? Oh, but I would also say if it's something that's vital to their diet, maybe something else you could try. Steve, it's like trying to give them something else that maybe they are accepting, and whatever you need to get them to eat, and whatever else you need to get them to eat that's important to their diet, go ahead and put it in their diet as well with whatever else you're feeding them. Something maybe that else you could do. And then there's Vibes Aquatics bringing up the food portion of the stream. What's everyone eating for dinner? Not sure yet, Vibes. Honestly, not sure yet. Might eat one pellet out of the handful I put in there. Well, then, yeah, maybe try some flake, or I would say maybe try some frozen foods as well. I guess that also depends on what fish you're talking about here, but for the generalization of fish, I would say, yeah, maybe try some frozen foods and such, like some brine shrimp. That's pretty universal for a lot of fish, unless it's like big fish, then it may not be very filling. So maybe some jumbo bloodworms or such, just to throw it in there, and maybe that'll get their appetite up a little bit. Something that I've tried and had a little bit of success with myself personally. But okay, hey, I think I got what you're saying. Right, so mod until the whole giveaway is done. Gotcha. Or at least I think I gotcha. I'll reach out to you, Matt, just to make sure I got what you're saying is. But Glitch, thank you for helping out with that too, because yeah, I was a little bit confused about what Matt fully asking, but I'll also touch up with you, Matt, once I got off the stream here and double check to make sure I know what exactly you're saying here, so there's no confusion. Justin E., I'm having trouble getting my juvenile Fahaka to eat other foods. All he wants is snails. Well, on the bright side, I will say if all he's eating is snails, it could be worse. But all jokes aside, but that aside, I would say that same thing there. Sometimes those puffers like live food, so I guess I'm not sure what you're all else trying to give him, Justin, or the Fahaka in general. I shouldn't just say him, because the longest time I thought Finley was a him, and then turned out that Finley was a girl. But everything, I mean, as only Oscars just said there in the chat, I see him now, or see her now. I mean, everything eats bloodworms. I mean, tetras, barbs, puffers. I mean, shrimp, goldfish. I mean, angelfish, discus, plecos, roaches. Everything eats bloodworms. I'm not sure also how big your Fahaka is. When you say juvenile, I guess I'm thinking somewhere give or take around 6 inches, or maybe a little bit smaller. But if it's eating snails, I would say, depending on how much snails you have, keep giving that as well. If your fish store has it, maybe try to go ahead and find like some ghost shrimp and such. That's something that I gave Finley while she was growing up as well. And it's also good to keep the puffers hunting aspect about them. I think that just gives them a little bit of a higher quality of life. But I mean, otherwise, yeah, I've also given my puffers like some frozen krill and such. Not like those little cube ones. Get like the flat of krill. That actually gives, that looks like krill, But otherwise, I wouldn't give beef heart too much, because that sometimes can be a little fatty and such. So I do that sparingly of puffers. I tend to give it to them more as just a treat. But I guess I also don't know what you're all trying with one. But I will say, yeah, too. I mean, with the snails, though, at least, that'll keep its teeth ground down. So I would definitely recommend just keep giving it the snails, but throw in some meaty foods with the snails. Kind of like what I was saying with like the pellets and such earlier. Mix the two together. Lime and the coconut. Mix it all up. Yes, and Glitch, that's a very good point. I almost forgot about that, and I'm glad you mentioned that. You can also try to use tongs to move frozen shrimp. Mine was cautious at first, but now that I have an arrowhead puffer that would do the same thing. I mean, like I say, sometimes puffers are picky, and if it's sometimes they want the thrill of the hunt, especially when it comes to like I know a Fahaka isn't a super ambush puffer like versus an arrowhead puffer or a dragon or a Congo puffer, so to say. But yeah, sometimes get tongs and wiggle like krill, or as Glitch there said, some shrimp in front, or maybe even you got some crayfish and such, like self-cloning crayfish is something I have bred down here a couple times, and that's something that you can do. Rob's Aquatics, another great suggestion there. Fiddler crabs, that's another great one. And yeah, if they can even taste it, as Glitch just points out here, then usually they go after it. Once they have a bite, more than likely, they're going to attack the rest of it. Puffers are sometimes just picky, though. I've learned, I've read that sometimes, I don't know how much validity there is to it. Sometimes puffers just go on hunger strikes. And by that, sometimes they just, sometimes they're just not hungry. But if they don't eat after like 4 or 5 days, then maybe you got something going on in your tank. But like Finley, sometimes there's just days I'll offer snails, krill, or even some live foods. Sometimes she just don't want anything. But I say, I've read on a couple of websites that sometimes puffers just do these hunger strikes. Or as Glitch just said there, sometimes, yeah, that's another fantastic word to describe it. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I feel puffers are too smart for their own good sometimes. Like, oh, you're giving me krill again. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to make you sweat it out a bit tonight. Sadboy3, I feed my puffer frozen crayfish. Great thing to feed them. I used to give Finley frozen crayfish claws all the dang time, and she loved them, but unfortunately one of our local fish stores, the ones that used to cover them now sadly don't carry them anymore, so unfortunately I haven't been able to give that to her nearly as much, which is a bummer because she loved eating them, and it's for her teeth too. Speaking of puffers, I had to hear the disturbance in the force or something. Mountaintop Puffer Keeper is here saying, hey all, happy Monday. Back at the Mountaintop Puffer. Rob, I always say that Finley is a little bit of a prima donna myself, but a lot of my other, she's the main one, but it's because she knows she's the queen of the fish room. She knows it. She knows that if she doesn't eat out 3-4 days, that I'm like going through all the work to make sure that there's nothing wrong with her tank. Like I'm checking for ammonia, I'm checking the nitrates, the nitrites, all the levels. I'm making sure the filters are properly functioning, that the heaters aren't going bad. I turn over all the rocks to make sure everything's working fine. And I feel like she knows that, and she just loves to see it out. Those little buzzards are smart. Mountaintop Puffer. My Mekong Puffer breeding article made the Amazon edition. Nice. Very nice. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The fact that you got a formula down to breed the puffers, color me impressed. Breeding puffers is not easy. Something I have yet to accomplish anyway. Someday I'll probably give it a try, but I think I'll probably try to breed angelfish before I try puffers, though, personally, myself. But mostly because, well, angelfish is a little bit of an easier task versus puffers, but at some point, yeah. Only Oscars. I started my peas on co-op's fry food and snails. These bloodworms and snails, that's all they eat. They're so tiny. Yeah, they're very tiny. Something I also gave my pea puffers for a while. I also gave them brine shrimp. I also gave them little bits of mysis shrimp as well. And my pea puffers personally didn't mind the mysis shrimp as well. It definitely wasn't their favorite, and I learned that very quickly. But yeah, one thing about a fish that only grows about 1 inch to 1.5 inches is that they even the snails, they can't even be all that big. They'll still take down the biggest snails and take them down for their meat, but yeah, one thing about those peas. Hey, you never know, Glitch. You might get lucky. You never know. Sometimes you pair them off, and sometimes that's how it starts. Whew. Today's drink of choice, ladies and gentlemen, hot chocolate. Hasn't been bitterly cold here in Western Iowa yet, but I got a feeling it's coming. Absolutely, Mountaintop. You get some fry out there. Especially with Mekong River puffers. That's something that could, those are not a common puffer at all. You can make you some good money off that stuff right there. Oh, let's see here. We're creeping up on an hour. The wife should be home here in about 5-10 minutes. So I know we kind of strayed off our topic here for a bit with the calm tanks. if anyone has any questions or something like that, shoot them at me here if you haven't already, but something like that. Only Oscars. I'll agree with that except the diet part. I myself personally do not drink diet soda. I like Dr. Pepper. It's easily my favorite soda. But yeah, at least not yet anyway. I do not drink diet. Diet is like Austin Proof soda. Also, I know some people weren't here when we first started, but to anyone who is interested, and if you collect stickers, I still have about 20 Fantastic Freak stickers left over. These things are 2 inches by 2 inches. It's just basically a perfect square. As you can see, the Fantastic Freaks, it's basically the logo. If that would focus, that'd be great. Maybe it'll focus. Why won't you focus? Whatever. There we go. You can see it good there. I mean, it's just Finley on there, and yep, that is a picture of Finley herself on there. Just 2 by 2 inches and such. If you're interested in getting one of these stickers, of course, you can find all sorts of my social media links on the fishfam.link website, of course. Be sure to check that out there if you haven't already. And if you're interested in the sticker, you can hit me up via email or, of course, send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. It's kind of the main reasons why I have those social media. I don't post anywhere near as much as I should. It's mostly just for contact purposes. But if you're interested in a sticker, send me one of those. Sketty, good to see you. Fantastic. Love it. Love it. Going through the chat. Rob, yes, it'd be nice to find a brave female redline puffer. The females too also have the spotted patterns too, supposedly. I don't know again how much validity there is, but it's said that the males have like the darker stripes, and I mean honestly, the striped redline puffers, they kind of look just like off-color fajakas, honestly. But you can definitely still tell a difference. But the females, on the other hand, have more like a spotted pattern, and that's what the people love to get, personally. But it's what I'd love to get here someday, but I don't know if I'm going to get another crossover for a little while. Usually when I have a puffer of that magnitude go out, and especially if the way my cross river with all that when it happened with him, definitely gonna, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit before I get another crossover. That because I mean they have very hefty price tags, and the main reason I got my last one was because fortunately the store gave me a pretty good deal. I won't go too much into detail on that, but I definitely will get someone, or I'll definitely get another one someday. On to the chair. Well, it is a quarter after. The wife should be here any minute now. So, guys, I appreciate y'all coming in here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and bounce here now for the day, guys. Thank you all so much for checking in here, coming into the stream here today. Appreciate every single one of y'all here. Coming up here shortly, I'm going to go ahead and, release another video showing off a couple of my tanks. The next video won't have just one tank showing off. We'll have at least two. I might go ahead and try to get 2 more of the tank or aquarium spotlight videos out before the next stream, if time allows. I am going on a little bit of a road trip for work and such. So I'll be out of away from my fish room for a couple days here, but still might try to go ahead and get 2 videos up this week. I know that rarely happens, but I'm going to try to. But you will for sure get one here. If you guys have any suggestions or requests of what tank you would like to see me do next, by all means, feel free to tell me in the comments below. Always open for suggestions here. But that's the main thing coming up here next. And of course, like I say, of course, Fish Fam Christmas is coming up here. I will be taking part of that. So, of course, can't tell you the day, but if you click that little bell there and subscribe to the channel, you can stay in the loop of, and maybe keep in the loop of when that might happen. Because there won't be any heads up until like, oh, shoot, he's actually doing it now. Okay. So stay tuned for that. But appreciate every single one of y'all guys for all the continued support and for coming in here today. As always, truly means a lot. See you all in my next video, everybody. As always, you know it. Stay fantastic, guys.